everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today for the Orilium Academy character and TBR for the spring Equinox semester coming up in April.
Some say that before the Amalur lit the sky, Alleria was but an ordinary planet. That is, of course, not true. Very little of our history predates Amalurite, because very little of our history was worth noting then. You might have heard that our lands were devout of magic. Truth is, there has always been magic on Alleria, however, only creatures most foul were able to tap into it. All we knew back then was darkness, demons, pain, and despair. What we didn't know yet was that a great power was headed our way, and with it, insurmountable hope. There is no shortage of records of the night the meteor, now called the Amalur, lit the sky. People sang songs and told tales of the night the sky first cried purple, the serene everlight that lasted months, the reckoning, the lilac dream. Fear of the unknown has turned to marvel. What was supposed to have been destructive proved to be revolutionary. Now, the symbol of hope, power, and resistance, the Amalur is both an inspiring myth to those less educated and a beacon of enlightenment to those inquisitive. For it has infused the lands of Alleria with Amalurite, an element of pure and wild magical energy. The impact caused a gradual shift of continents away from the epicenter, and for a while, that was that. Little manifestations of power from the people of Alleria slipped into the ancient texts discounted as curiosities, oddities, or miracles. We now know it was the beginning of magic. Two earthling brothers, one wishing a whirlwind away, another halting the rain. Mysterious wisps of light defending younglings from sky demons. Animals bonding with children for a lifetime of protection. Gods whispering to those who listen, pacts made with those who ask. Elven blacksmiths noticing curious powers within their work. An Illyrian rumored to have shapeshifted into a shadow bird to flee a battle and warn the rest of the coven. Just tales and myths and olden stories. The first to ever recognize, study, and record their findings on their emerging magic were Elidor and Uni, a human and a dwarf. As the knowledge and teachings began to spread, more and more people tapped into their talents. More fights were won against the terrors that lurked just below the surface, driving them further away. But magic is wild and dangerous and not to be underestimated. Corruption is easier to succumb to than most realize, and madness was always just around the corner for those wielding the most power. A system began to form. Those who survived their own magic took on apprentices when met with old age, to pass on their knowledge and help guide the next generation. But whenever a sorcerer achieved a certain level of proficiency in their craft, they felt a pull, impossible to ignore, towards Orilium. They all journeyed, but few ever returned. In time, this became known as the Novice Path. We should note one group in particular that embarked on their Novice Path, the First Order. The Novice Path is still notoriously difficult to tread, but it is nothing in comparison to the wilderness it was back then. Despite all odds, the First Order has rediscovered the Amalur crater with the meteor cliff that floats above it, enriched with beautiful Amalurite ley lines. In their journals, they described an overwhelming sensation of peace, eagerness, concentration, motivation, and togetherness. The Orilium Academy was established 3 years later.
This is Illyria, or one representation of her. Illyria hails from the middle of Etheria, from a small hamlet known as Rivermeet. Illyria, as you can see, is an earthling. She has the magical power of air, and she has her companion, Shadow. Shadow has been with her through many experiences. Illyria has recently travelled the Novice Path and been accepted into the Order of the Crescent. This semester she will be attending the Orilium Academy, where she will be studying to become a Master of Elements.
So, as you just saw, that is Illyria. Obviously, I am Illyria. She is my character that I will be playing and have been playing throughout this magical readathon. I thought that it would be really fun to create the miniature figure. A friend of mine has a 3D printer and they told me about this really cool website called Hero Forge where you can create your own character, what they look like, and then you can print it in the 3D printer. I have then obviously painted it, so that is the figurine, the personification, if you will, of Illyria, but of course I am Illyria. I'm sure that's clear, but there you go. So as I just described to you, Illyria is an earthling. She grew up in Etheria. She grew up in a small hamlet with a very close-knit family, very wide family. She is related to a lot of the people in her hamlet, and she grew up with many aunts and uncles who were always willing to look after her. It is very important in her hamlet and for her people to have a really close connection with nature. So she has grown up learning about the connections between earthlings and nature between nature and nature, as it were, so between the trees and the other plants and the animals and how they sustain each other and all of that sort of thing. So it is very important for Illyria and for her people that she has this connection and understanding of the land where she comes from, which is very, very strong within her. She also has her amazing familiar Shadow, who you have also met the figurine of. Shadow is a lynx, and Shadow is her companion, has been her companion for the last several years. They are very close. They have sort of a telepathic connection and understanding of each other, and the ability to understand each other's moods and needs and be able to relate to that as well. Shadow has of course travelled with Illyria to the Orilium Academy, where Illyria is going to study. During her journey along the novice path, as did we all, Illyria faced a number of trials as a result of her decisions and her feelings, and Shadow's decisions and feelings about the situation she was put into. She was asked if she would like to join the Order of the Crescent. Of course, she said yes. It sounded exactly like her kind of people, her kind of beliefs and structure, so she has agreed that she would absolutely love to become a part of the Order of the Crescent. She did grow up in a very small hamlet, so it's going to take a little bit of getting used to being surrounded by as many people as will be in the Orilium Academy and taking part in classes and other functions with her. Also, as I have spoken to you or will have spoken to you about, Alleria is an air earthling, so she has these absolutely beautiful wings that allow her to fly through the air. She's also able to manipulate certain weather situations and able to manipulate air currents so that she can fly through the air, and that is part of the reason as well why she has bonded so closely with Shadow, the lynx, an animal who lives on the ground, who hunts on the ground, is helpful because she has the air power. She's able to use air, so therefore it's good to have someone on the ground who can hunt and function well on the ground. So that works in a really synergetic arrangement, which is perfect for both of them because it allows them both to have their independence. It's very important for both Shadow and Illyria to have a certain amount of independence from each other, as well as the really strong connection that they have, because Shadow, being a lynx, being a cat, she is very independent herself. As I have also said, because nature and the elements of nature, whether it be air, which is her element that she is most connected to and understands the best, but also she feels a connection to other natural elements, earth, water, and fire, so she feels the connection to all of those elements, and because of that she has decided that she would like to study to be the Master of Elements. This decision is probably going to bite me in the butt come August, because there's going to be quite a lot of books that I have to read as the player of the character, but I just felt that it really suited the type of character that I had created in Illyria, so that's why I decided to go for Master of Elements. So I'm just going to read what G has written. I have not said before, but I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you so much to G for this absolutely amazing readathon. She has put so much effort into every single aspect of the readathon. She has thought about so many things, whether it be the fact that I can have a familiar as part of my character, whether it would be that another character will have a spell book to be a conduit for their magic, because that is the type of character they are. She's really created an incredibly rich and immersive and amazing and spectacular world, and I just think it's so incredible, and I'm so excited that this is something that we can all really participate in and enjoy and be immersed in all together. I love BookTube in general. I love the community that I feel like I have created because of BookTube and the friends that I've made because of BookTube, and I feel like this readathon is a part of that and is helping to build that connection, and I just think it's so fantastic. Plus, like I said, the amount of effort and work and just brilliance that G has put into this is just amazing. So thank you so much, G, and everyone for participating in this readathon and making it as amazing as it is. So yeah. But anyway, this is the Master of Elements sheet. This is all about the calling that my character has decided it would like, or I've decided for my character she would like to be. So this is the kind of work she's put in. This is my character sheet. This is the sheets about the wildling, the type of character that I have chosen to be. It's amazing. But yes, so Master of Elements. Soaring into the air, propelled on winds of their own making, shielding themselves in armour made of crystalline petals, extinguishing blazing infernos with a snap of their fingers. These are but a few of the feats a Master of Elements can achieve. And it is a Order of the Crescent exclusive calling, which suits Illyria, obviously. Key traits are they are attentive, confident, nature-loving, and spontaneous, which I think perfectly sums up Illyria's character. Okay, so in the spring equinox, which is the semester we are going into in April, I have to do elemental studies, shapeshifting, animal studies, astronomy, conjuration, and restoration. To see a little bit more about how I came up with the books that I am going to be using for these prompts, please go and check out my Roll of Reads and Realmathon video. So that went up last Saturday. That is where I have chosen I did my Roll of Reads and used those prompts to choose the books, and now I have figured out how the books are going to work for those. There's one or two that I have added as well. So for Elemental Studies, a book under 100 pages, I will be reading the first installment of Season 8 of Buffy, which is the graphic novel of Season 8 that was created after the show finished. I've actually read, I think, about a quarter of this before, but I have said this many times on my channel, I'm still very much a learner when it comes to reading graphic novels, so I didn't really get very far because I just wasn't a graphic novel reader at the time, but I'm getting more into it. Buffy is one of my favourite TV shows. In fact, it is my favourite TV show of all time, so I'm stoked to read that one, and it is under 100 pages long, so that works out really well. For shapeshifting, I needed to read a book with claws on the cover. So for this one, I will be reading The Library of the Unwritten by AJ Hackwith. I'm outside, so I don't have the books with me, so I'm putting them up here, but I do have most of these books. So this was sent to me by Paige from Pages with Paige for my birthday. So again, thank you so much, Paige. I'm really excited to read this book. It sounds really, really interesting and really, really fun. And as you can see from the picture, there are definitely claws on the cover. So that works for this one. Then we have Animal Studies, and it says quick read, so read a book that will be quite a quick read. And for this one, I will be reading Normal People by Sally Rooney. This is I think this is kind of a mix between contemporary and literary fiction. It's reasonably short, so I think it'll be quite a quick read, and yeah, I think it will therefore work for this one. Then we have Astronomy. So read one of the books that is at the top of your to be read list, and so for this one I am reading The Yield by Tara June Winch. This is a book that I've owned for probably about 6 months, and I've been really, really, really wanting to read it, but I just haven't picked it up yet, so it's very much at the top of my list. I'm really excited to read it, so yeah, definitely at the top of my list, or one of them. So that's for that one. Conjuration, Source of Light on the cover. So for this one, I'm going to be reading Like a Charm by Elle McNichol. As you can see from the picture that I've put up, it has got stars and the moon, so they are sources of light. They're very small on the cover, but they're still there, which means that they count. So that's that one. And then finally for restoration, a book featuring healers. I will be reading Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. So apparently Shakespeare's wife was a healer, so perfect. That features healers. So yeah, so that is all the information about my character. For more information about the readathon as a whole, like I said, all of G's stuff is linked below, and yeah, that's everything that I wanted to tell you about today. Sorry I haven't gone into any detail about any of the books. This video was going to be very long if I did that, but also I've gone into some detail about the books in my rollerbreeds/realmathon TBR. So like I said, please go check that out for more of the information there. So anyway, that's it from me today. Please leave me any comment that you would like. Are you going in the Magical Reads Orilium Academy? Please let me know that. If you are going to be a Master of Elements, or if you're in the Order of the Crescent, please let me know that as well. That'd be awesome. If you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me something with wings, an emoji with wings, because my character has wings. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for joining. I really do hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.